Hey guys, pardon the nudity. I just got out of the shower where I was, thinking of good things to say for this video. But also, it's Valentine's Day. It's Tuesday, and that means that Tumblr-wise, I'm allowed to be topless on camera and not be judged for it. Anyway, so on the topic of sex, oh wow, where to even begin? Sex in our culture has been completely commodified. Not only with the idea, actually not only with any idea at all, any singular idea, but I mean look at pornography. The fact that you pay to see, women not respect themselves enough to not do things like that. The fact that we have, strip clubs, dirty stores, and granted, I'm not saying I disagree with any of this. I'm just using it as, to prove the point that sex in our culture has just become something that you can have, something that you can buy, like a cup of good coffee. And, that I think is wrong. Because sex isn't, a sport or a game or necessarily a hobby, anything like that. Sex in what it originally was, well actually, in what it originally was, it was reproduction. But in what it has become since then, but before it has become what it is today, sex was, this deep emotional bond that you had with your partner, and when you feel comfortable enough with each other, you would share in this. And that, I think, has been lost, because now that it's become, such a part of pop culture for women to dress with their low shirts and, look really sexy and all these things, and they have young girls looking to become that, and younger these girls are dressing, less and less appropriately. And, virginity isn't a concept anymore so much, because your virginity has been tied into your self-worth. And at a young age, when your mind isn't mature enough to recognize that this isn't accurate, people will say, I haven't had sex. I'm not a real person yet. You see like 13, 14-year-old people having sex. Freshmen in high school, when, really, your body isn't physically sexually mature until it's 28. 28. And yeah, the average, I don't know about female, but the average age for a male to lose virginity is 17. Now, the fact that the average age is 17 as of like 2007, 2008, but your body isn't 100% truly ready for it until you're 28, that kind of says something. But how many people do you know that really, didn't start having sex until they were 17? People are starting way younger than that, because virginity has been tied into your self-worth. It's no longer about, connection and love and this deep passionate bond, because now it has more to do with, getting laid and, blowing your load. And I think it's taken away a lot, not only from the sentiment of it, but from the appeal of it. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. For example, all right, there's this girl I work with, and we don't like each other very much, but she recently got promoted to manager, so I have to do everything that she says. She's afraid of me. I don't know why, but so a lot of the time she does what I say. We've kind of a hate-hate relationship. And sometimes I like to fuck with her. I'll be like, oh, Shanika, why don't we go fuck in the freezer? And, of course, I don't mean that. I'll say that I do because it's hilarious. But, in all reality, I've only slept with 2 people in my life. And, she says something about, like, oh, Alex, is that how you get all the girls to sleep with you? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And she's like, oh, wow, every girl you slept with is stupid. And, I think the conversation was a joke until she said that. Because I got angry and made her take that back. And that's because, not only is it not true, but, I wouldn't say I'm selective about who I have sex with necessarily, but the only people that I've been interested in enough to have sex with are people whose, minds work in extraordinary ways. They're artists. They're people outside of the kinds of people that you interact with every day. And to have only had sex with 2 people, I don't want to say like less experienced, but like I guess that's what it would come down to, because I haven't been with as many people, so I'm less experienced. But it's something that I'm not unproud of, or not proud of, because I feel in a sense that I haven't, polluted myself, and that's what people are doing when they're starting so young, having so much sex, and then you got this little glass, right, and you have sex, and it's full, and then now you've had sex, good for you. But as you grow, as you get older, the glass grows. And the same amount of water, the same amount of liquid, isn't going to fill it to the same point that it needs to. So you start having sex with 14, or at 14 years old, and by the time you're 17, then where you could be like losing your virginity for the first time, now you're into, you know, these random hookups, or, you know, just, I don't know, the kind of girl that sleeps with somebody on their first date, or the kind of guy even, like, a close friend of mine, a good friend of mine, he lost his virginity in 8th grade. And I think our sophomore year of high school, I hadn't lost mine yet, and I was like, man, like, how can this be? You know, like, you're so lucky. You know, I was really insecure about it. Like, when people asked me if I was a virgin, like, I had trouble admitting it. I would often, like, dodge the question. And, you know, it only strikes me now how ridiculous all of that was in hindsight. Because if you're a virgin, you should be proud of it. You should be proud that you haven't polluted yourself. You should be proud that you haven't given in to the societal pressure that says, you know, have sex, have sex, have sex is the only thing that's going to make you a person. Because that's wrong. It's the only thing that's going to throw away your innocence. It's the only thing that's going to throw away your first time, which should mean something. And, you know, if your first time doesn't, then what does? Because it's the kind of thing that, I mean, right? It's one of the most, I don't know if it's one of the most emotional things that you can do, but, like, it's sure as shit up there. Like, if the sex really means something, then, I mean, don't go throwing that away. Don't go wasting that. So, conclusively, sex is good. Sex is a commodity. Sex is misused. And I think as a society, as a culture, maybe even as a civilization, we're looking at it the wrong way completely. We need to bring it back to when it meant something, to when it stood for something. But, of course, we're probably not going to.